Hi guys, Craig and Annette, AusCamping. Today we wanted to show you about our diesel heater installation. Camping in winter can still be a lot of fun, but not so much fun at night time when it gets cold. In our last camper, we installed a diesel heater. It was the first time we'd ever used a diesel heater, and I have to say, super impressed. I would never go camping without one. Once you've tried it, it's just the most efficient way of heating. They use very little fuel. We can go, I'd say a couple of weeks on 10 litres. 10 litres for heating, couple of weeks, no problem at all. The only problem that I have with the diesel heater is that sometimes it's too warm, but that's not a bad thing in winter. You can always turn it off, but they are super efficient. This one here is an adjustable 2 kilowatt to 5 kilowatt heater. I'll put in the movie, as I do with most of our videos, I'll put in the comments a link to where we got it from. It's not the super expensive one. You know, we don't do things like that. It's not the cheapest off eBay, but it is still a very cheap one. I specifically buy it from an Australian supplier because then I'm covered by Australian consumer law, and this guy stocks parts for them and everything, so I'm really happy with the arrangement. If anything goes wrong with it, I've got local support. If anything goes wrong with it and I need parts, I can get parts. So for us, it's a great solution. Now, I wanted to keep this as compact as possible. The really important thing is do some measurements inside from this panel back to where you want it, and go underneath and do some measurements underneath so you know exactly where it's going to end up, because there's not a lot of room. The last thing you want to do is drill a hole through the floor and have it come out on something on the chassis or on the suspension. So you need to be in clear space underneath. So after a few measurements, I figured out roughly where I wanted it and where I thought it was going to work, and I put one small hole up through the floor from the bottom, and I could see where it came out. Double check everything, make sure it's going to fit and go in the right place, and then I'm happy to drill the holes that I need. So there's a fairly large hole that you drill down through the floor. All the instructions come with the heater. They're not hard to install. There are a few safety things to think about. The exhaust and the inlet need to be kept separated. Again, that's all in the instructions. Or if you're unsure, get somebody else to install it for you. But don't underestimate the benefits of a diesel heater. We can keep nice and warm in here in 0 degrees, no problem at all. We made life easy for ourselves by putting the outlet just on the end of the bed here, and we can turn the nozzle so that the heat is reflected off this wall and back down to the corner seating position. And we've even tried it out at night time, out in the awning, when we have the awning completely set up. Sorry, not just the awning, the annex walls as well, so completely enclosed annex. We leave the door open and we get enough heat filtration out to warm up the annex area as well. So the only other thing you need to make room for then is the controller. And what we did is, remember, we installed a DC-DC charger. So that took care of our solar controller. Our solar controller was originally on this end panel here. So with the solar controller missing and this switch disabled because the solar is going directly into our DC-DC, I then utilised this switch as the main circuit breaker the main switch breaker for our diesel heater, and the diesel heater control panel went on where the original solar controller panel was. So now we can just turn on here, and to be perfectly honest, I run the heater on as low as possible because it gets nice and warm in here anyway. In the middle of winter, we might turn it up a bit warmer, but last time we were out and it was cold at night time, low was enough. So that's our diesel heater install. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. As I say, I'll put a link to the supplier that we bought our heater from. Highly recommended. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and follow, and we'll see you in the next video.